Hello fashion lovers, welcome again to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be teaching you on how to draft this stylish top. If this is what you love to learn, let's get right into it. So my lining is about 2 yards and my fabric is about 2.5. So I'm going to be folding this fabric to accommodate my bust and extra, right? The bust is the largest part of my body right now. And next I'll be taking out the measurement for the top length. This is inclusive of my allowance. So I'm using 28 for the blouse length, and I'm just going to mark it and draw a straight line, then cut out. So this is for my top length. I'm going to be marking out my starting point. This starting point is going to be serving as my shoulder line. So from that shoulder line, I'm going to be marking my shoulder to bust, and my shoulder to bust is 12 inches. So the basic measurement you need for this particular tutorial is right on your screen, as you can see. So I'm going to be connecting this point with a ruler to get my straight line. Next up is my shoulder to my waist. My shoulder to my waist measurement is 18 inches. I'm just going to mark the point and get my straight line. So I'm going to be connecting it with my ruler to have my straight line. So that line there is my waist measurement. So from that waist measurement, I'm going to be marking 10 inches, which is my actual top length. Next up is my neck width, which is 3.5. Then for the neck length for back, I'm going to be using 1.5 right there. This is for my back neck. So for the front neck, I'm using 4 inches. So I'm connecting those points with my ruler to have a straight line. Then I'm going to be using a freehand to draw my curve. Now that curve there makes it my round neck. Next is my shoulder measurement. My shoulder measurement divided by 2, I got 8, I added half inch. And I went up by 1.5 inch, and I also brought down my shoulder measurement so that I can have a straight line to where my ample is going to be sitting on. Hope you got that. So from that my ample line, I'm going to be coming down by 1 inch. I'm connecting that 1 inch to my neck width, and that I'll have my slanted shoulder, my shoulder slope, right? Then from my 1 inch that I came down, I'm going to be marking my armhole, and my armhole right there is 8 inches. So this 8 inches, I'm going to be determining my midpoint. So 8 inches divided by 2 will give me a midpoint of 4. So I'm going to be marking down my midpoint. Then again, I'm going to be extending the armhole line, right? After which, that midpoint, I'm going in by 0.75. Then on that extended ample, I'm going to be marking my bust measurement. That is my round bust divided by 4. I'm going to be marking it there. Then I'm going to be connecting the 3 lines or 3 points together. Now this would give me my ample, right? Go ahead and do same thing you're seeing me doing. So I've gotten my ample right here, and this is it. This is what it looks like. So next now is my round waist measurement. My waist measurement divided by 4. I'm going to be marking it there. Then I'll go over to my M line. On my M line, I'm going to be marking my bust measurement because it's the largest part, but I'm not going to be stopping right there. So I'll first of all connect my bust or chest line measurement to my waistline. Then I move over to my M line. On that M line, we're going to be adding excess, like extra of say 3 inches, right? And that extra is just going to make it have that V sharp look by the sides. So I'm going to be connecting it with my ruler, right? I'm going to be connecting it over there like this. That's this V sharp look that I was talking about. That's the extension. Then again, I'm going to be blending the waist in. So I'm going ahead now to mark my seam or chalk down my seam allowances. So I'm marking about 1.5 inches for my seam allowance right there. Then on that my M line, I'm going to be going up by 1.5 so that it has this curve look by that side end, right? So I'm going to be curving, or yeah, I'm going to be blending in with my ruler, my master ruler. So I'm pinning so I can be able to cut out. So I'm cutting out my back pattern. Now this is my back pattern. So I'm going to go ahead now to fold my fabric into two, then place my back pattern over my fabric, and I'm going to be cutting everything out, but on that center front I'm giving like 1 inch allowance, right? See, as you can see there, I'm marking out 1 inch allowance. So this 1 inch allowance is for both the lining and that center front, right? So I'm cutting out away. I'm cutting that away. So I'm going to be marking or notching the excess, right? I'm notching the excess on that front pattern. So I've removed my back pattern and I'm going to alter the neck length of the front, which is 4. If you can remember what I said in the beginning. So I'm just going to curve it, or put a curve with my armhole curve, and I'm going to be cutting the neckline out. Remember that the excess for the center front is 1 inch. So I'm pinning down, right? I've notched already. So I'm going ahead now to cut my sleeve. So the cap height for this particular sleeve is 5 inches. It's a very free sleeve. You can do 6, right? So the cap height is about 5 inch, and on that cap height, I'm going to be marking my armhole divided by 2. So my round armhole is about, let's say, 21 or 22. So the divided by 2 will be 11. So I'll put it down 11 there. Then mark my seam allowance. So after I've added my seam allowance, I'm just going to draw a curve, like that armhole curve, like that sleeve curve, right? But if you don't know how to draft or cut a sleeve, this particular part is not for you. It's not beginner friendly. It's a freehand sleeve, so just draw a curve, right, to meet with my cap height. So next is my round sleeve, and it's a free sleeve, so just go ahead and make it a free sleeve and add your seam allowance, and I'm going to connect all the way down. So my sleeve is already ready. Remember, this sleeve is not beginner friendly. If you don't know how to cut a sleeve, this particular one, you can get it. So that's slit by the sleeve side. So it's the center front of that sleeve. You're going to be coming up by, say, 3 or 2.5. Then on the M allowance, I'm coming out by 1 inch. And I'm going to be slanting it, just where you see me. Then cut out. So for this particular one, I'm going to be cutting out another sleeve, right? You know, it's a 2-sleeve thing. After cutting the sleeve, this particular sleeve has a facing, right? So, but as we're getting to a long road, see the facing. So I've cut out, I have my 2 sleeve already, and that slants on that place, as you can see. So I'm notching the center of this sleeve. Now this helps me to place my sleeve on the armhole shoulder of my sleeve, of my dress. I hope you understand that. So for this particular facing, I've already folded my fabric into 4, as you can see, 1 2 3 4. So I'm going to be cutting the 2 facing at once. So I went up of my sleeve by 6, and on the other side I went by 6 too. Now this is going to be serving as my sleeve facing. Hope you got that. So I'm cutting out, and I'm going to cut out that slanted area, right, like this. Then I'm going to be ruling the 6 inches and cutting out. So now we have our sleeve facing. Now this is how the sleeve facing is going to look. So right side facing right side, and I'm going to place it like this and go ahead and sew the hem of the sleeve just the way you see it, like this, the way my hands are going. That's the same way you're going to be sewing your sleeve. So next up is the belt. Because this particular dress has a belt, it's the same way you cut your normal band. That's the same way you're going to be cutting your belt. So I folded my fabric and I'm going to be marking out 3.5 inches. The length I use for this fabric, for this belt, is about 40-38. So depending on what you want, if you want it long, if you want it short, anyhow you want it, but long the better. So I'm going to be cutting out. I'm going to be cutting 2 of it. As you can see, I've already cut out 2 of it, and that is going to be serving as my belt. So this is it. I've cut out the lining of the blouse, both the back and the front. So let's work on the front. You know the front has an opening by the neck region and an opening by the hem side. So I came down from that neck region by 5. Now depending on you, you can choose to come on any length. So on the hem length, I went up by 7, 8, right? Then for the opening, the V part of it, I came out by 1.5, or I used 0.75, sorry. Then I slanted in to meet that my neck region. Then for the back, I'm just going to do 1 inch and slant it in to meet with the point I marked my opening, where my opening is going to be stopping. So I'm going to be going ahead now to cut out. So I'm cutting both for the lining and the fabric, just the way you're seeing me do, right? And I'm going to cut out same thing for the down part of this dress. Remember that this dress has a slit in front and a slit down, the down part of this dress. So I'm notching where I'm going to be sewing and stopping for both sides or for both ends. So I can see I will sew that part. I'm sewing that part where I notch down to the other part where I notch, and that will serve as my center front joining. I hope you got that. So for the back, I'm going to be placing the lining over the fabric. That's the wrong side, the right side facing right side, and I'm going to stitch the neck line with my hemming gum. As you can see, I didn't iron any stay on this cloth, so I'm going to be making use of hemming gum for the edges. So you see where I'm going to sew all the way, the sides. I'm not going to touch the armhole. So I was done sewing the facing for the sleeve, and I used my hemming gum. So as you can see, I was done with the joining part of the center front, but I also noticed that the slit was needed to be cut more in, right, to blend with the joining part, right, so that it does not have, it should be open. So that's why I had to blend it in and cut out, so it blends directly with the center front that I have already sewn, right? And I'm going to be cutting in, like cutting it inside the seam allowance that I sewed down. So if I open it, it's just going to lay flat, right? The aim is that the slit is open and that particular center front is laying flat. So I was done, and I'm going to be placing the right side facing right side of this particular center front or the blouse, and I'm going to be sewing around the neck with my hemming gum. I will sew the sides with 1/2 inch. Remember, everything you're sewing is with 1/2 inch. Then the hem side, I'm going to be using hemming gum, so that when I iron it, it just stays firm, right? But the side seams, you're sewing with 1/2 inch. You're not touching the armhole. So I was done sewing the back pattern of this dress, and this is what it looks like, right? I'm just showing where I I've worked on already. So I'm going to be opening it through the armhole. So I was done with everything, and this is what it looks like. Now if you use hemming gum, you'll notice that it's ironed and laid it flat very well, very neat. So this is how it looks like already with my lining, and this is the back pattern of this dress. Okay, so next I'm going to bring the back pattern and the front pattern together. I want to join my shoulder, the shoulder part of this dress. So I'm going to do an inseam. I'll open the front pattern of this dress, the shoulder part, open the back pattern too, and bring the two centers together to meet with the other center together. That's the center of the front and that of the back shoulder. Then I'm going to be sewing straight on the wrong side. So when I was done sewing, you're going to notice that it's going to be inseam, like you're not seeing the joining part. Then when I was done sewing, or when I'm done sewing, I'm going to be joining the center part of this sleeve that I notch to the center part of the shoulder. Yes, that's where you're going to be joining it from. So I'm done joining my shoulder, and I'm going to be going ahead now to fix my sleeve. Right, you see the way I'm placing it, the center that I notch on my sleeve over the center of the shoulder. So I would advise that you pin down if you're not familiar with sewing sleeve, right? So next up is where I'm going to be determining where I want my belt to start from. So you can use your waistline, but I would advise you go up from your waistline by 1 inch so that it grabs both the bust, the under bust part of this dress. I hope you got that. So if your waist is 18, you can go up by 17, right? 17 or 16.5, and start your belt from there, so that when you tie it, it's going to fit well, like it's going to bring out the beauty of the dress. So you're just going to take in your belt, put everything inside, then bring a little part and pin it together just the way you see me pinning. So when you're joining the side seam, right, it's joined with the belt. So I was done joining, and this is what it looks like, right? So you can go ahead and iron. Make sure that extension you gave for it is coming out. Iron very well and neatly done. So this is how it looks. I'm going to be showing on the mannequin how it looks. So it is a great opportunity. If you've not subscribed to my channel, this is the best time to do so. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to click on that notification bell to get notified anytime I drop my sewing video. It's bye for now.